in the right direction, but it's really exciting. I love it.
So almost where you launch, you learn, you iterate, you evolve, you do it again and again.
Yeah.
And it's just how things change. So out of interest, so you started the podcast also about 6 years ago.
Yeah.
Can I ask you, why did you start the podcast?
So I was a huge fan of audiobooks and internet radio. This is a long story, this one, but I'll try and keep it short. I'm a huge goal setter. I give myself a goal of reading the top 100 books as recognized by the BBC. And I always say to people that if they've ever seen Moby Dick, or if they've ever read Dostoevsky, they're just, are the classics. So what I started doing was kind of cheating a little bit, and I was listening to them as audiobooks. And I also loved internet radio. So I loved some stuff in the States. I'm a huge fan of like conspiracy theories and UFOs and secret bases and stuff. So I was listening to the likes of Art Bell on Coast to Coast, and just love and dial into some of those American radio shows. And then I found that purple icon on my phone, podcasts, Apple Podcasts at the time, and started searching on all the things that I was interested in, particular genres. And that's the way I learn. I've got loads of books. People send me books all the time, and I don't read them, but don't tell them that. I love them. I love having them as ornaments that are all signed. But yeah, that's my chosen way to learn. So I was just bashing through content, 2 times speed. That's how I listen to my podcast. I'm literally just taking it all in quick. And then I thought, if I'm going to start a company, why don't I kind of document it? And, I'm 210 episodes or something. Out of all them episodes, I've spoken to some absolutely amazing people. So I'm also learning as well, quite self-indulgently. I'm meeting fantastic people and learning from them. So, people often say, how do you monetize your podcast and things like that? Well, it was never about money. You don't make money from your podcast. You make money because you have a podcast. Sometimes people will say, well, I know you in that particular field. We like what you do. Can you come and work with me? So it was never something around the money. It was something to document, to create content like you, Steve. It's exciting. It's great, isn't it? Do
you still get nervous? I've got to ask.
I don't. But I'm going to put a massive but in here. So I'm a keynote speaker as well, Steve. So I'll speak at conferences about various topics. I'm a member of the Professional Speaking Association. So I can talk and do lectures, and I'm fine. I'm totally fine. It's like crossing that white line when you're a substitute. You come off the bench and you want to cross the white line. You're excited. But you made me nervous before you came on, because you did all your little techniques and you were getting yourself in the zone.
Well, there's a reason why I stand up.
I'm like, oh my word, where's this going?
No, but so for instance, on my LinkedIn, I remember the first time I ever thought I would even try to live stream, because I knew I wanted to do it because I could see the potential of the internet and to hit lots of people and stuff. But when you've got quite a few connections, like they all see it or it all pops up, and if it's garbage, it's scary. It's scary. And even now, like I'm kind of a bit more relaxed now because I've kind of got a better setup and stuff. But I still get nervous doing it. But once I kind of relax into it, I really enjoy talking to people. And what I've almost found is that and you probably see this as well. So on your social media, on your LinkedIn, you might have 10,000 people. 9,050 will never comment, never like anything, but they still watch it.
Yeah.
And, they often actually really enjoy it. God knows why they don't like or comment. And then you'll have a few. So hi, Saratha. We've had a few people kind of comment and stuff as well. But and then you have your core niche that actually kind of interact and stuff as well. But it's still kind of, hi, Rory.
And so is that a question then, quality over quantity, Steve? So would you rather have 1,000 engaged people, or would you rather have 10,000 as your network?
Well, but this is why I was interested to ask why you launched the podcast. Because for me, my core revenue at the moment is consultancy. And actually, I'm good at it. And, I wanted to make sure that anything I do, I really throw my heart and soul into it, that I want the quality to be good, with the idea being that, if I was doing this from a crappy webcam with terrible sound, that might reflect on the quality of my service. But the reason I do this is that I have realistically 3 main clients that pay me on retainer every month. If, and that's been going on for like a year, if one of them is to drop off, I might choose to add another, but I wouldn't want to handle 2. So actually, although I pump this out to a lot of people, I'm actually only aiming at maybe 10 people. And everything I do, the live streams on a Friday, the podcast, the interviews, everything is actually about developing relationships with a very small number of people And that's why I do it. So my way to monetize is in building relationships and stuff. Because the other thing that I found as well is that people like to work with people they see as being consistent. So even if they don't like this and they never watch them, knowing that you're going to show up every week and commit to it and the quality is good, it keeps you on people's radar that from a business development point of view, if they ever want to buy what you're selling, there's a higher chance they're going to pick me because I'm on the back of their mind.
Agreed. Yeah. Yeah. And it's added value because what you're doing is now you're constantly giving free content and free value to people that they're enjoying, because they're getting half an hour of content and they might get a few golden nuggets, and that might actually change the way they do their business or anything. And that's free. It's all free.
But the same with you. And it's almost one of the things that I did also notice is that when obviously people don't care about me, some do, but they love to hear your story, and especially your friends love to see you do this. That when I always find that I always clip this up and I'll do it as a separate clip that I repost as like a 10-minute thing. And it's that because when people can catch up with that at any point, it gets the biggest traction. But people love to see their friends do well. So actually it's then as you pick how do you pick your guests, or do people approach you, or a bit of both? I'm just out.
I think I'm going to say, do you pick your friends?
No, but for the podcast, in terms of, do you from a bit, because obviously this is a business strategy related podcast. Do you ever think, well, actually, I'd love to work with those people? So for instance, Greg's brilliant Northeast company. I love the marketing, love everything they do. Have you ever thought, actually, I'd love to work with Greg, so therefore I'm going to approach the CEO at Greg's if he wants to come on? Have you ever used it as a tool?
No, it's an interesting one, this one, because we get 30 requests a week, maybe now, to come on the show, and we probably take 1% of them. Because they'll be just scattergun approach, sometimes they've just changed Ian in the email and it's blue and the rest black, or awful stuff. And if you're ever in sales and marketing, you'll know how to write a good email. That's not the way to do it. So I'm more interested in who the audience want to hear from, but also topics that the audience want to hear about as well. So I had a guy ask me to do a Brexit show. I've had a Bitcoin request, cryptocurrency stuff, and of course. So I'll go out and look for that particular person. But in terms of reaching out to clients or potential clients in some of these companies, Steve, I love the underdog, right? I get a bit, when I'm talking and I'm in a conference, I'll come off stage and I'll be sitting there and I'll be really intently watching other speakers about how they do and what their stories are, because we all learn from stories. We're all storytellers now. They're all talking about the Amazons of the world and the Jeff Bezos and the Tesla stuff. And I'm like, we've got so many amazing companies here in the Northeast. So I don't really have much interest in some of them ones that turn like oil tankers. I really want to know about the underdogs who are really in the trenches right now. And if I can give them a little bit of a leg up and expose them, then awesome. That's so exciting for me.
Same, because that's the same approach I take. And bear in mind, 99% of businesses are SMEs.
Yeah.
Because the other thing as well is part of the reason why I do this, and I'm sure it's the same for you, it's almost that you get a lot of people that talk the talk, but not many people actually put their cock on the block and actually do stuff. But you know what I mean? But it takes balls to actually, so if you're telling, I remember years ago, I was at a company and we were looking at marketing providers, and there was one lady in particular, I had a meeting with her, and we met in Krispy Kreme in Gateshead near the Metro Centre. Yeah. And she was saying, Steve, you should really do more video. And I was like, well, I do, you might have noticed. But anyway, this was years ago. And she was like, so I said to her, well, do you do video? Oh, no, we don't do that. I was like, well, why don't you do it if you tell me to do it? Oh, yeah, but it's more like do as I say, not do as I do, or whatever.
Yeah.
But it was just a lot of people talk the talk, but they don't actually do it. And that's one of the reasons why I also like doing this, because obviously people will see you try and fail, but at least they'll see you try. It was where a lot of people don't even get that far. And by the way, Chris Owens is calling us Mr. and Mr. Live stream. So
it's like how cool is Chris though?
He's taking my picture on Wednesday.